Today we're making butternut squash soup, and everybody has their version of this. I've got a couple versions actually. This one is dairy-free. Let's get started. We have a baking sheet here, 2 apples, butternut squash, small red onion, and a head of garlic, kind of a smaller head of garlic. To prep these, what we're gonna do first is we're going to roast everything in the oven for a while. So garlic, that we're just gonna cut right in half. We'll take off the layers that seem to want to come off nice and easy. Leave a few of them on there though, especially on the top, just to hold everything together. Onion, cut the top and the bottom, and we'll cut it in half. Peel off the thin layers. Also, while we're doing this, the oven is preheating to 375 degrees. Got this cut up. We'll just cut it into quarters. Then we have 2 apples. These are just Gala apples. You can use whatever kind you want. We're just going to cut off the top and the bottom. And then peel these. And then just kind of cut these to get the core out. And those to the baking sheet. For the squash, we cut off both ends, and that'll give us something flat to work with when we're cutting. Just slice right through the middle. Then we're going to take a spoon and just scoop the insides here into the garbage. Cut these one more time into quarters and lay them out on the sheet pan like so. Now that this is all on our sheet pan, I'm going to take some extra virgin olive oil and just drizzle it across everything. Make sure there's oil on all of it. Don't be shy. Salt. Also, don't be stingy with that. Really large pinch. And then pepper. For soups like this, light colored soups often you use white pepper. If you don't have white pepper, you can use black. Just leaves black specks in your soup, which is not a big deal. A couple teaspoons up to a tablespoon of that. All right, and that goes into the preheated oven. That's gonna be in the oven for about 45 minutes until the squash is tender all the way through and you can slide a knife through it really easily. So we'll just keep an eye on it. It will also start developing some coloring on the outside. This has been 45 minutes. You can start with browning around the edges. That's perfect. The apples and onions, we can just put straight into the pan or the pot here. I've got a 5-quart stock pot. For the garlic, we're just gonna take some paper towel, quadruple it up here, and then the top part should actually come out pretty easy. Might not even need the towel. Just kind of shake those little pods out while keeping the paper from falling in. With the bottom part, you hold it with the paper towel and just kind of squeeze, and this will bring out those cloves. And now for the squash, we're just going to scoop it out. So your squash, it's not going to be completely cooked all the way through. And the reason for that is we're going to simmer it in the liquid and kind of finish it off in there. Right now, because it's not cooked all the way through, scooping it out can be a little difficult. So I'm just using this knife to cut the skin away. And then we are going to cut it into smaller pieces so that it will all boil and cook nice and evenly. Now to this, we're going to add a full can of coconut milk and 2 cups of chicken stock or broth or bone broth. Our seasonings, we have ground ginger. We're gonna add 1 teaspoon of that, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 1 teaspoon of allspice, and then a very small amount of nutmeg. I'm just gonna grind it fresh. If you're grinding it fresh, you only need probably that much, which is like a pinch. If you're just using pre-ground stuff, then maybe 2 little pinches of it, just a very little bit. Then we will add 2 big pinches of salt. That looked like 3, but only one of them was big. And the other one was semi-big, and then the last one was small. So, and this goes on heat, on high. We'll bring that to a boil. So that we're gonna bring to a boil, and we will let it simmer for probably 15 minutes. All right, very, very hot. Oh, it smells amazing though. The next step is we're gonna use our immersion blender to blend this up. Alternatively, you could use a blender and just put it in a little bit at a time. If you do that, you don't want to overfill the blender, because as soon as it kicks on and the heat and everything kind of gets moving, it'll explode out. So we just use the immersion blender. All right, give it a quick taste. That does not need a thing. Cool. If it's a little too thick and you might want it a little sweeter, you could add just a little bit of apple juice. If it's a little thin, you can put it back on the heat and kind of just simmer it a little bit to reduce it. But this right here, as it is, it's just right. Dish this up. Just a few ladles. Okay, so there you have it. Roasted butternut squash soup. Give it a try, let us know how you like it. There's a link in the captions to the full recipe, as well as some of the equipment that I've used, and would love to see some photos of yours when you try it.